I'd like to take this opportunity to show you a couple of hashing tools that will help you understand hashing a bit better. Now, the first tool is Karen's Hasher, and when I teach cryptography, I like to use this tool because it helps people learn how hashing works. Now, basically, it's an older tool. It's a freeware download, and you can get it from Karen's Tools. It's a good teaching tool, but you may not necessarily use this day to day to hash things. You can if you want, but there are other tools out there. You might use MD5 Sum if you're using a Linux variant, and it's included in Linux in most distributions. Windows, however, does not include any hashing tools at all. You can download MD5 Sum for Windows, you can download Karen's Hasher and so forth, but Windows doesn't natively come with any hashing computational tools at all. One of the first things I want to show you is about how hashing works with passwords, for example. Let's say I have a password of, password. And what I can do is run any of these hashing algorithms that is included with Karen's Hasher, MD5, SHA-1, SHA-24, SHA-256, 384, 512. I'm going to run a simple MD5 first, and that's the hash, the 32 character number, which is a 128-bit hash that MD5 produces for password. Now, you don't have to memorize the whole number, but memorize the last couple of digits like CF99. And notice what happens if we change anything in that word. I just added a space. We compute the hash again, and it's a totally different number. So one thing that hashing can tell us is if something's been altered. It could be the password, it could be a word, a string of text, it can even be a document. And you can see up here that Karen's Hasher can hash individual files or groups of files. If I were to add a file here, I'm just going to grab something from my Tools folder, maybe Windows XP Service Pack 2 here. That I'm going to open that, and then I'm going to compute a hash on it. Now, it's going to take a second or two. If you look at the bottom, you can see its progress. But it produces an MD5 hash for me, and that is the 32-character MD5 hash, 128-bit number, for that executable. If any bit in that executable were to change, this hash would be different. So you can ensure integrity by hashing. So if you sent a file to someone and maybe it's gotten broken up or messed up in the transmission or reception, you can hash it and tell that. Or from a security perspective, if a file has been altered in any way, then you can tell that too by running a hash and determining if something's changed. Now, we don't have to just use MD5, obviously. We can use something like SHA-1 or 224 or whatever. And you can do the same thing with a group of files as well. You could add some files to a group, 2 or 3 files maybe, and hash them as a group. And as long as no file in that group changed, you would get the correct hash for it. Let's go back to the hash text here, and let me take out the blank that I put in there, the space, and let's rehash it using MD5, and we get the same hash that we got before, and you know that because the last 4 digits were CF99. Now, if we were to hash this using SHA-1, for example, we would get a much longer number. This is a 160-bit number. SHA-224 would even give you a longer hash, and obviously longer bit lengths are typically considered more secure. So that's Karen's Hasher and how you actually could change a word like a password. Let's change it up a little bit. Let's go $$ $W0RD. A lot of people like to use that password. And if we were to hash it, obviously we get a particular hash. Now, what happens when we break passwords, and I'll give you a demonstration on this a little bit later in the course, we actually take hashes and compare them to hashes that we get from security files, Etsy Shadow, possibly from a Linux box, or the SAM from a Windows, and we compare these hashes to see if they match. And if they match, we know we got the right password. And we base this on dictionary attack, where we have a lot of these words that we produce the hashes for. Again, we'll go through all that a little bit later in the course. The next thing I want to show you is MD5 Sum, and that's on our Linux box, and I'm going to pull up our Backtrack box so I can show you that right now. Okay, I'm in my Backtrack box, and I've created a file here that I want to show you, and it's a test file. Test file 1, as a matter of fact. It just has the simple word in there, Bobby, my name. Now I want to run MD5 Sum on this, And MD5 sum is native to Linux types of distributions. And I just give it the test file name there. And it computes the hash and tells me what the file name is. Now, if I were to change that file, I'm just going to send my last name to the file. And if we do an MD5 sum again on it, we should expect to get a different sum, and we did. So we got a different message digest simply because it was changed. Now, you'll find hashing used in Linux. As a matter of fact, if you cat the etc shadow file, you'll see that we have hashed passwords in this file. And again, if you can steal the password hashes from etc shadow or the Windows SAM, then you can start cracking these passwords by comparing hashes. And obviously, you would need the correct algorithm. And Linux can do MD5, it can do most of the SHA variants. So that is hashing in a nutshell, and I've shown you Karen's Hasher and MD5 sum in Linux, two of the most popular tools that you can use to look at hashes and even produce hashes.